Good morning, everyone. I would like to recognize the presence of the Honorable Reginald Ostry, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment, Mr. Luo Songtao, Consular of the Chinese Embassy in Dominica, Mrs. Letitia Lestrade White, the Acting Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Dr. Kevin Ferrara, Acting Chief Medical Officer, Mrs. Vanya Brunillo Black, the Acting Matron, and other representatives of the Chinese Embassy and the Ministry of Health, the media. Once again, good morning all. I have been given the lovely task of welcoming all of you here today to this simple handover ceremony. In keeping with our mantra of social or physical distancing and decreasing in terms of congregation, the ceremony will be very short this morning, but still significant. We are pleased again to be present for yet another donation to Dominica from the People's Republic of China. Despite China's own challenges with COVID-19, they have continued to reach out to us and to support Dominica in our own quest to combat this disease. And while my assignment here is to welcome you all, I cannot miss this opportunity to extend my profound gratitude to China, the people and the government, for this very useful and timely donation. Non-invasive ventilators and non-contact infrared thermometers are all vital tools in this war against COVID-19. Again, it is my great pleasure to welcome all of you here to this simple but significant handing over ceremony. At this point, I would like to invite Mr. Song Tao from the Chinese Embassy to give us some brief remarks.
Honorable Reginald Autry, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, Honorable Dr. Owen McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment, Honorable Dr. Kent Darrow, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, and Diaspora Relations, Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness, and New Health Investment, other distinguished guests and media friends, good morning. First of all, I want to say, in fact, I didn't expect a large-scale handover ceremony like this. Why? Because yesterday, my colleague in the Chinese Foreign Ministry office, Chinese Foreign Ministry, told me that we should keep a low profile. I asked why? Because she told me, because this machine are very popular. It's in the high demand across the globe. And in the Caribbean country, only Dominic got more than 10. Usually, just the other country just 2 or 4 machines. So that's why they asked me to keep a low profile. All other countries, they will be jealous. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know that now all the countries in the world are fighting a war. the enemy called coronavirus or COVID-19. China is the first country to take up the weapon and fought the war. Under the direct leadership of President Xi Jinping, China has taken the most rigorous, comprehensive, and thorough measures to prevent and control the spread of disease. And after our hard work, now we have brought the situation well under control. But nowadays, the main challenge is prevent the imported case. I read the news report as of yesterday. There are more than 1,500 imported cases, many from Russia, US, and UK. That's still a big challenge for us. But anyway, we have gone through the hard days. And now our priority is to restore the production and to boost our economy. You know, the virus caused a great pain to us. Yesterday, the National Statistics Agency released that in the first quarter, the GDP growth is negative 6.8%. Is the first GDP. But anyway, we overcome the challenge. And during our fight, we received many warm-hearted help from other countries, including Dominic. I clearly remember that Prime Minister Skerrit had all the cabinet ministers to the embassy to express solidarity. And I also remember that Prime Minister made a speech at the opening ceremony of the Parliament and announced that Dominic will donate masks to China. So China fight, we are not fight alone. We have many friends like Dominic. Now, when Dominic faces the same challenge, it's our turn to lend a helping hand. That's why I'm sitting here to attend the handover ceremony. In fact, this is the second time I'm here in just 2 weeks. In April 4, we handed over the first batch of material to the Dominican government. China and Dominic are true friends. We always help each other, support each other. So, in this difficult time, our embassy, the Chinese government, and Chinese people will firmly stand with the Dominican government and people. We will try our best to help Dominic to show up the line of defense. I want to talk a little detail what we have done. First, we extend our moral support. You know, after I remember on March 22, when you reported the first case, Ambassador Lu immediately wrote a letter to Prime Minister Skerrit to express our solidarity and promised to provide all we can to help fight the disease. Second, we share the medical technological knowledge with the Dominican side, and my colleague shared the same version of the diagnosis and treatment with the Ministry of Health. Third, we share the experience on the prevention and the control experience. On March 24, Chinese Foreign Ministry held a video conference with the Latin American and Caribbean countries, and the 2 doctors from China Dominic Friendship Hospital attended. Yeah. And of course, the third, we are providing the medical supply. In fact, due to the difficulty of the transport and shipment, we must divide the medical supply into different stages. So the first batch has already been handed off to the Dominican government. That from the Alibaba Foundation with 30,000 masks and 1,500 test kits. And this is the second batch with 15 ventilators. And in about 1 week, the third batch medical support will come to Dominic. That's from the Chinese government. It's including N95 masks, protective suits, and the forehead thermometer. Besides the 3 batches, we also got a commitment from the local government, going from Guangdong province. Guangdong province, you know the Guangdong province, they send the medical team here. Guangdong province is somebody called China, California. Yeah, the most rich province. Yeah. They promised to provide another 2,000 testing kits. And another local government is from Jiangsu province. Jiangsu province is the second richest province in China, neighboring Shanghai. They have promised to send another 400 protective suits and 10,000 masks. This is from the central government, local government, embassy, the civil organization. Also, the Chinese committee here, Mr. Zhu, also sent about 2,000 masks already here to the government of Dominic. That means all sorts of the people from the government, civil organization, ordinary people, they are supporting Dominic. That's a testament of a deep bond of friendship. We always say that a friend in need, the friend in. Yes, that's true. In this trying time, China will not be absent. We will stand with you. And I know that the situation in Dominic has stable for about 1 week. I'm sure, and the leadership of Prime Minister Garrett, and with the help of friends like China and others, we will finally win the battle against the virus. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Song Tao. And indeed, we agree that a friend in need is a friend indeed, and China has proven itself again and again to be a very, very valuable friend to Dominica. At this stage, I would like to invite the Honorable Minister for Health, Wellness, and New Health Investments to give us some brief remarks.
Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations. Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. Mr. Luo Songtao, Counselor of the Chinese Embassy in Dominica. Ms. Letitia Lestrade-White, Permanent Secretary Acting in the Ministry of Health. Dr. Kevin Ferrara, Chief Medical Officer Acting. Dr. Ruby Blah, HMD, Mrs. Vania Brunillo Black, Matron, Acting, other representatives of the Chinese Embassy and Ministry of Health, the media, and you, the listening public. Today, it's a good morning, first of all, and today is another milestone for us here in Dominica. A milestone, well, they've been coming quite frequently, and we don't have an issue with this, and it's most welcome. And now from the People's Republic of China, here we are again. Just a few days ago we were here, and here we are again receiving some more assistance, and for this we are very grateful. The first line of assistance was our 30,000 masks and 1,500 test kits, which we received from the People's Republic of China. And here we are again, another milestone of assistance from the People's Republic of China. We are getting 15 non-invasive ventilators. And this is actually the way the world is going as regards to managing the milder to moderate cases of COVID-19. So this comes in at a very timely moment for us as regards to our fight against COVID. But obviously these non-invasive ventilators can also be used for sleep apnea and for asthma and COPD, etc. And for this, we're very grateful. And as the representative from the People's Republic of China mentioned, there are more lines of assistance coming our way. The third line would be the N95 mask and the PPEs, the personal protective equipment, as well as the non-contact infrared thermometers. And then there's another fourth line of assistance coming of the 2,000 test kits from a particular province in China, and also the fifth line, which is the 400 PPEs and 10,000 masks from another province in China. So we have, well, we've been having, and we're going to have many more lines of assistance coming from the People's Republic of China. And for this, we're extremely, extremely grateful from the People's Republic of China. It shows the commitment that between the two countries, whether it's in good times, whether it's in bad times, because the People's Republic of China has gone through some really rough times over the past few months. They have weathered the storm, and here they're in a position to actually assist other countries. And Dominica being one of their better friends, they have come to our assistance in a very great way. When we look at the fact that other islands may have gotten 2 or 4 ventilators, we're above 10 ventilators from the People's Republic of China. So it tells you how significant such a donation is, and for this we're extremely, extremely grateful. There's a vast difference between the two countries, whether it's in terms of landmass, whether it's in terms of population, but it just tells you that apart from size and apart from population, friendship is beyond this. Yes, so, and for this we're very grateful, and we really look forward to this sort of assistance continue in the future, because it's not only in terms of infrastructure and regarding roads or regarding our Dominica China Friendship Hospital, regarding the human resource in terms of the specialists at our hospital, but in terms of supplies and equipment. And for this, we're very thankful, and it means a lot to us, and we really appreciate it from the People's Republic of China. And for this also, the friendship goes beyond that, because we totally recognize and we adhere to the One China policy as well, which means a lot to us in our relationship with the People's Republic of China. And as a matter of fact, during this COVID crisis, I think we're the only island in the region that we never actually prohibited people from the People's Republic of China coming. We just adhered to our quarantine and our testing, but we never restricted movement from the People's Republic of China to Dominica. And that just tells you how our friendship has been, and we intend for our friendship to remain that way. So I wouldn't be long, but I just must say that we really, really appreciate the assistance coming from the People's Republic of China, and we look for it to continue. And our relationship can only get better and better as time goes along. So in all of these hard times, both for the People's Republic of China and for Dominica, we can see the friendship even getting stronger and stronger, and we intend for it to remain that way. So we thank you very much for the assistance to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. McIntyre, for your remarks. And thank you as well for the excellent leadership that you continue to provide to the Ministry of Health throughout this crisis. And yes, we all agree with you that China, despite their own challenges, have continued to reach out and to support Dominica. For that, we are very grateful. Dr. Kenneth Daru, Honorable Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations, will now give us some brief words.
Thank you, HMD. Honorable Reginald Ostrom, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Honorable Dr. Irwin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investments. Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. Mr. Song Tao, Counselor of the People's Republic of China Embassy here in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Mrs. Leticia Lester-Wyke, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Health. Dr. Kevin Ferrara, Chief Medical Officer. Dr. Ruby Blanc, Hospital Medical Director. Mrs. Vanya Bruni Loblack, Acting Matron. All the reps of the Chinese Embassy and Ministry of Health, and of course the media. Let me just say, this is another significant step, another significant occasion in the Dominica's fight against this dreaded COVID-19 virus, which has been plaguing the world for a few months now, in fact for most of 2020, if not all. And we want to express our thanks to the People's Republic of China for yet again honoring their commitment in assisting us with this valuable and priceless equipment. So yes, while this equipment might have a monetary value to it, the value as it pertains to, from a medical point of view, is extremely priceless. And of course, Mr. Ambassador, or Representative Radar, and of course the Minister spoke as to these are like rare diamonds in these times. Of course, we thank you, and of course we want to, of course, thank you for your future commitments that you have stated here today. And of course, this donation is significant, and we applaud the success of the People's Republic of China in its fight against COVID-19. And I recall some time back when this just started in the Wuhan province, we did say here in Dominica that there's nothing that the great nation of China couldn't overcome. And you did show the world that you overcame this COVID virus. So we really applaud your success. And we appreciate your continued efforts to prevent, of course, the resurgence of COVID-19 in your country. And we salute you. But whilst we celebrate your success, so to speak, quote unquote success, we also would like to express our solidarity with the rest of the world. A number of our sister Caribbean nations are battling the coronavirus, a number of deaths every day. The great USA, even themselves, are struggling and combating this COVID-19 virus. So we do remember them in our prayers and in our thoughts. Of course, this priceless equipment will go a long way in assisting us in continuing the fight against the COVID-19. As I said, these ventilators are priceless. Those of us who have been following the path of the COVID-19 virus would see that these are useful as it pertains to respiratory failure, which is one of the complications of the COVID-19 virus infection. Of course, we all hope and pray and keep our fingers crossed that we will not be needing them. But of course, we have to be prepared in case that we need them, and we thank you profusely for this. The cooperation between the two countries in Dominica, between the People's Republic of China and Dominica, has been one of mutual respect and genuine friendship. And we want to reassure you that this will continue as long as this Labour Party remains in power in Dominica. We give our commitment to the one China policy always. And in fact, it was just a few maybe 2 months or 3 months ago, as you noted that we're offering our solidarity to the People's Republic of China when this COVID-19 all started. And look at this now, a few months later, here you are now assisting us with our own fight against the COVID-19 virus. Before I end, it would be remiss of me if I don't add my voice, like join many others in adding my voice in applauding the efforts of the frontline workers against the COVID-19 virus. And by the frontline workers, I speak of the doctors, the nurses, in particular those that are directly involved in the care at the COVID center in Portsmouth, the fire officers, the police officers, ward aides, sanitation workers, environmental officers, each and every one of them. The efforts are being recognized and appreciated by the Dominican public, and the efforts are yielding results. But in particular, I would also like to add my voice in supporting the hospital medical director as it pertains to the leadership of the Minister of Health, Dr. Irvin McIntyre. So you've been in this a few months, but I consider that you had a baptism of fire, sir. And like everything else, fire is really the test of good quality gold. And we're hoping that that when this thing is over, sir, your effort and leadership in the fight against COVID-19 will go down in the annals of history in Dominica. So once again, Mr. Councillor, we want to thank you profusely, and we, as I said, we will continue to be friends. I will reiterate what I stated some time ago. We have shown that both China and the People's Republic of China and the Commonwealth of Dominica that we are not fair weather friends. We are there for each other in our times of need, and we will forever remain great friends. So whilst, as I said, we applaud the efforts and the results that we have seen both in the People's Republic of China and Dominica, just want to appeal to the public that this is no reason to rest on our laurels. This is no time to take the foot off the gas, that we have to continue to do what we're doing. Obviously, the results are showing that we are doing something well. But if we step off the gas or take our eyes off the road, all of the efforts would have been in vain. And then we want to avoid what we call a resurgence of the illness. So once again, thank you very much. And of course, the government and the people of Dominica appreciate this timely donation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Daru. As a physician yourself and a former Minister for Health, I know that you would truly appreciate the value of this donation. And I really would like to echo a particular point that you made, not just, of course, in expressing your thanks, but to the public, to say that we cannot become or should not become complacent. The war has not yet been won, and we need to continue to do all of the things that we have been doing if we are to be successful at the end of this process. It gives me great pleasure at this point to invite the Honorable Reginald Austrie, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development, to give us some brief remarks.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Honorable Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Honorable Kenneth Daru, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Kent Edwards, Minister in the Ministry of Health, Councillor Santao, PS of Health, Mrs. White, Dr. Ferrara, Acting Medical Officer, Dr. Blanc, Hospital Medical Director, Mrs. Sloblack, Matron Acting, other representatives of the Chinese Ambassador, Embassy, other members of the Ministry of Health, fellow Dominicans, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media, good morning. This is going to be very, 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 very short. The shortest you're ever going to hear me is this time. And I want to say to you that had I been here in my own capacity, I probably would have not spoken, because I believe that Dr. McIntyre and Dr. Darrow have properly represented the views of this government and the views of the ministry as to our profound appreciation for this very timely donation here this morning. But I do think that the Prime Minister would forgive me for not having expressed on his behalf, since he's not able to be here with us this morning, his deepest appreciation for this very timely and important gesture. Today is really like a deja vu. Over the last 15 years, we've seen so many of those presentations by our Chinese friends to Dominica, from huge projects, the sports stadium, even this hospital, the West Coast Road, education, health, very, very big presentations all over the country. But today is very significant. Today's one is very significant. And I've been said, not in terms of the dollar value to it, but in terms of the importance and the significance in this very challenging and difficult period of world history, fighting an unknown enemy. And it's not unknown just to Dominica, but I think the entire world is unknown to the entire world, including the great People's Republic of China. As I understand it, these machines can in fact save lives if it gets down to that point. Because I've been advised that one of the biggest impacts or effects of the COVID is how it attacks your respiratory system, which means your inability to breathe. And if you can, and many of the people who have died of respiratory ailments or conditions associated to respiratory ailments. And these machines, like I say, and Dr. Darrow said, they're priceless, because there's no cost you can put on a life. A life has no cost. Whereas you can cost a stadium, but you can't put a cost on human life. And these machines will surely assist us in ensuring that as we continue to wage the battle against COVID, that we'll continue to save lives if it becomes necessary. Up to this point, we're keeping our fingers crossed that we have not had any loss of life. And in fact, 8 of the 16 patients who were diagnosed with the virus have in fact been improved to such an extent that they could be sent home for the continuation or duration of the treatment. And as we understand it, the remaining 8 are in fact doing pretty well, and we're hoping that very shortly they too can be sent home. So thank God we have not had any deaths, and we do not expect any deaths. And like I said in previous discussions, I believe this is due, 1, to the preparation that this government had made before the arrival of the virus, and 2, the fact that we have been the recipients of supplies and equipment that were very, very necessary, including our ability to do our own testing here on island, probably before any other country in the region. And that is all because in the design and the putting together of this great gift, the Dominica China Friendship Hospital, the lab was factored into that development. And so even before the final completion of the hospital, that lab is proven to be a lifesaver for the people of Dominica. And so too, this hospital will prove to be a lifesaver for many, many, many Dominicans in the future. So I want to thank you here on behalf of the people, on behalf of the Prime Minister, on behalf of the government, and the people of Dominica, for this very significant gesture, which is an addition to all the great gestures that you have made to this country over the last 16 years. We want to say to you, and we said to you when we visited the last time with the Prime Minister, that we were confident that your great country would ride over this challenge. And as far as we know, you have come a very, very long way into riding over the challenge. In fact, Wuhan province, where this virus originated from, has been practically reopened to business. And so that is a major victory over the virus. And that will continue to lead the world, really, in dealing with this COVID-19. We also note, too, that your country has been in the press lately for various reasons. But we want to assure you here in Dominica that we stand in fullest solidarity with the government and people of China. We know that you have very clear intentions. We know that your thrust towards humanitarian support and humanitarian aid is unchallenged and parallel in the world. And we believe in this. And so we want to throw our full support behind you as you not only fight the COVID virus, but as you also fight the negative press that is being hurled at your great country. We have already reiterated here this morning that the One China policy is a basic principle on which we have established our relationship. We believe that there is but one China, and one China there shall be, and we'll continue to stand by that principle. I want to say to you that our relationship is not just based on the kind gestures that you put forward to us from time to time, but because we stand on principle, honesty, sincerity, and sovereignty. I remember when we established relationship with China, this government was heavily criticized, both locally, regionally, and internationally. But today, even those who criticized us then are now coming around to realize that that was probably one of the greatest foreign policy moves entered into Dominica under the Roosevelt-Skerrit administration. And so we hold no regrets, and we're very, very proud of our position in our support for the People's Republic of China. Councillor, I want you to convey to your capital our deepest appreciation for not only this gesture, but for all the gestures that you have made to our country in good times and in bad times. And we look forward to the future with great anticipation. We expect, and work has continued, even in spite of this difficult challenge, on the China-French Hospital. And we expect that in the future, many, many more contributions will be made towards making this hospital probably one of the premier medical institutions in our region, and that the name of China will forever be engraved on this beautiful edifice, on this beautiful life-saving institution called the Dominica China Friendship Hospital. God bless you. God bless your beautiful country. God bless your leadership. And as I've said, this relationship will continue under the leadership of Honorable Roosevelt-Skerrit and the Dominica Labour Party. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Austri. As you have said, every life is priceless. And while we hope that we will not have to use any of these ventilators for any COVID patients, we are reassured that they are available if the need arises. So we come to the high point of this ceremony, where we will do the formal handing over of the equipment from China to Dominica.
Maybe you could take one and hand me. And then we can come here.
Okay, thank you. And at this point, we invite Mrs. Loplac to the acting matron to move the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson. The Honorable Reginald Austri, Senior Minister and Minister for Housing and Urban Development. Honorable Dr. Irvin McIntyre, Minister for Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. Honorable Dr. Kenneth Daru, Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business and Diaspora Relations. Honorable Kent Edwards, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment. Mr. Lau Santao, Consular of the Chinese Embassy in Dominica. Mrs. Letitia Lestrade-Wyke, Permanent Secretary acting in the Ministry of Health. Dr. Kevin Ferreira, Chief Medical Officer acting. Dr. Ruby Blanc, Hospital Medical Director. Other representatives of the Chinese Embassy and Ministry of Health, the media. Let me, on behalf of the Government of Dominica, and more specifically the Ministry of Health, Wellness and New Health Investment, express profound gratitude to the People's Republic of China for this timely donation of non-invasive ventilators and infrared thermometers. These machines have come at an opportune time and will be used in the delivery of healthcare, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic. Indeed, China has been a dear friend of Dominica. Ceci. Let me thank all of you present, the media, for the part you, the media, play for leaders as together we fight against this COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much. Thank you all of you for coming. Ceci.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Loplac, for your words of thanks. And this brings us to the end of the handing over ceremony.
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, Mr. Edwards. Let's take on with you.